What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a part of this journey so far, and I hope that you've enjoyed that 20-minute meal prep series. It was so much fun to make, and I'll definitely do more 20-minute videos because honestly, the convenience and the taste together, you can't go wrong. So this new series is going to be all about desserts. All my favorite desserts to eat in a more calorie conscious way or not. I still haven't decided yet. And to kick this off, we are going to start off with none other than the holy grail of desserts, chocolate cake. Yes. I love chocolate cake. Like, it's the best thing on earth. It's the only dessert I have an absolute weakness for. So we're gonna just make it a little more calorie conscious, and we are going to be using coconut flour as our base. So it's a completely flourless dessert because coconut flour is basically ground up coconut. Yeah, so it's gluten-free friendly. It's also dairy-free friendly if you're into that. But I should just put a disclaimer out there. Even though I'm making this dessert, it doesn't mean that I have anything against regular all-purpose flour cakes. Like, give me a good old chocolate cake with all the dairy and all the all-purpose flour, and it'll be a party. However, I do enjoy this particular recipe because it's super decadent, it's super rich, and you get all the strong flavors of chocolate. And we're also going to be using chocolate from San Juan Estate Cocoa in this recipe. I use their chocolate as well as cocoa powder. So let's get started. So we're going to start off by measuring 6 ounces of chocolate into a bowl. As I mentioned before, I'm using this dark milk chocolate from San Juan Estate. It's super delicious, and my original intention was to use the chocolate I bought to make this cake, but we had a snack accident and I ate a lot. So we're just gonna use how much ever this is, and unfortunately or fortunately, I'm gonna just top it off with chocolate chips. That chocolate is seriously good, y'all. You need to get at them. Perfect. So we have 6 ounces of chocolate, and then to this we're gonna add coconut milk, and you can either do a double boiler situation or put it in your microwave to melt your chocolate. I said coconut milk, it's coconut oil. So coconut oil goes into there, and I'm just gonna use the microwave and melt this. So you're gonna pop it in your microwave and melt for 30 seconds at a time. All right, so while that's in there, I forgot to mention, we wanna preheat your oven to 350 degrees, as well as prepare a pan. So I've lightly buttered my pan and dusted with the cocoa powder that I got from San Juan Estate. So after the first 30 seconds, you want to just mix your chocolate in. You don't want to burn your chocolate, so just carefully mix it and melt it, put it back in for as long as you think it'll need to go. So actually, I just had to put mine in one more time, so that's a minute in all. And as I stirred, the chocolate melts. So I love using local chocolate because you really get the authentic, natural taste of the cocoa. And each farmer have a different taste as well, but San Juan Estate is where it's at. I'm gonna link them. Plus, the chocolate is made by world-renowned bodybuilder Quincy Winkler. And I mean, if a bodybuilder is making you chocolate, you cannot go wrong. All right, so you can see that all the chocolate has completely melted. And to this, we're gonna add cocoa powder. Again, it's local Trinitario good cocoa. I'm gonna add to that my coconut flour or ground coconut. You could also substitute this with things like almond flour or oat flour, whatever fits your preference. Of course, substitutions would require different measurements. Alright, so if you're using a different nut flour, just be aware of your measurements and your portion sizes. They're gonna differ, they're gonna vary depending on the type, because they also absorb moisture differently. Right, that's completely combined in there. I'm gonna add some baking soda. And actually one more thing goes in there. I made some cold brew coffee. I love putting coffee in chocolate ingredient, in chocolate recipes, Love putting coffee in chocolate recipes because that even adds to the flavor. So I'm just gonna put a couple tablespoons of my homemade cold brew. It smells so good. In there, all right. That should be good. All right, so you would see how thick my butter has already gotten. You know, when it started it was runny, but now that coconut flour would have absorbed a lot of the moisture, and we're gonna add our eggs now. So we're going to separate the eggs, however. So the yolks are going in here and the egg whites are going to go into a separate bowl so you can make sort of a meringue. Try not to get any yolks in with the whites, because then the meringue is gonna lose some of its integrity. Also, try not to get shells in there. A good tip I saw is that if your eggs are cold, when you separate them, it's a lot easier. The yolks keep its form, and then you could just leave them out to come to room temperature before you use them. Woo! Yup. That usually happens. That's why if they are also cold and you separate them, it keeps the shape. Thank goodness I use fresh eggs too, which helps as well. Alright, so the yolks get combined with your coconut flour and chocolate mixture. And then we're gonna make the whites into a meringue. So basically you're gonna mix it on high speed with a handheld mixer or a stand mixer until stiff peaks are formed. So you want to test it in between. This is almost there, but not quite there yet, because you can see like the peaks are falling. So just mix it a little. Actually, this looks ready. Yep, that looks very ready. So we're just gonna add our vanilla to the meringue. So you see how the peaks on the blade are? That's actually really perfect. You can still see it in the bowl as well. When you add the vanilla in, you really don't have to mix it for very long. You just want to make sure that it's incorporated. So you're going to use some of your meringue and incorporate it into your mixture of chocolate and coconut flour. And that's going to help get this mixture a little lighter before we add the rest of the meringue and fold it in. So you can see how the texture and consistency of your first mixture is already changing. It was completely like absorbed all the moisture until we started adding this, and you can see some moisture coming back in here. So little by little, probably in 2 batches, you want to fold in the rest of your meringue. Working with coconut flour is really tricky because it absorbs so much moisture. It makes for great desserts, but you really have to know how to work with it, or else you're just gonna end up with a pretty dry, flaky tasting treat. So yeah, I advise you use lots of eggs, use lots of oils. Right. You're gonna start seeing, you want to keep folding because you're gonna start seeing your mixture turn from, you know, this really dark brown into, you know, a lighter color and a texture that more resembles a cake batter. After the first fold like this, it's gonna really start coming together. With the last one, you don't want to overfold it either. So you basically take from what's underneath and bring it on top. So this is our first mix, and I think I could do this. I made a mess. I think I could do this in about 2 more mixes actually, because it's a lot of eggs. Right, so you don't want to overfold. You're gonna get a batter that's still pretty thick, but when you put it in, it's still gonna bake. Once that heat gets into the egg whites, it's gonna expand a little, and you're gonna have a really moist and delicious cake. So we're just gonna add our mixture to our pan. Alright, so once you get all your batter in there and it's evened out, you're just gonna bake this for about 25 to 30 minutes. Alright guys, so here we are and the cake is done. So mine's baked for about 25 minutes. You just want to do a quick toothpick test, make sure it comes out dry in the middle, and then you want to let it cool for about 30 minutes to an hour. So mine is done. As you can see, it doesn't rise a whole lot, so I probably should have used a smaller pan, but that's perfectly fine. You're still going to see the depth. You can enjoy it just as it is, but I'm just going to add some cream cheese topping to it. This is basically just some fat-free cream cheese mixed together with confectioner sugar, and we're just going to add that to the top of this. Alright, just a rough glaze. I'm also going to add some cocoa nibs just to the top to add a little bit of a crunch. It's always about texture, and it looks so beautiful. It smells great in here as well. Like, I cannot wait to just indulge. It does smell like a brownie house, but you'll see what I'm talking about texture wise. It has a very cakey texture. I just remembered I have some toasted coconut that was homemade as well. I'm gonna add that a little bit to the top. Ooh. Oh yum, this is looking amazing. And if you get 12 servings from this, it's gonna be about 15 grams of carbs per serving, which is incredible because it looks absolutely delicious. So let's cut into it. So if you can see, there's that crumbly, cakey texture going on inside there. That really is really soft and moist. You get the texture of cake. So it is cake. A serving size this big is probably gonna be 20 grams of carbs, so you cannot go wrong. Let's dig in. All right, I'm excited. Look at that texture. Look at those flakes. Oh my goodness. Ooh! It's even better than the last time I made it. I was kind of worried because it was like, oh my gosh, I used a pan that was too big, but oh my goodness, yes. Okay guys, here you go, a flourless chocolate cake. So gluten-free as well as dairy-free. You could eat it just as it is or add a nice little topping like this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Please be safe. Bye!